The security guard looked at me with pity in his eyes. "I'm sorry, Mr. Chen," he said, holding up the guest list. "Your name isn't on here." Behind him, I could see my daughter, Sophia, laughing in her $50,000 wedding dress, the one I'd paid for 3 weeks ago. The Chateau Margaux vineyard stretched endlessly under the California sun, its manicured lawns dotted with white roses I'd specially ordered from Ecuador. Each petal cost me $12. I know because I kept every receipt. My name is Robert Chen, and for 27 years, I built my life around one person, my daughter, Sophia. Standing at that iron gate, watching security turn me away from my own daughter's wedding, I felt something inside me die. But it wasn't just heartbreak. It was the death of an illusion I'd maintained since the day her mother left us when Sophia was 3. "There must be a mistake," I said, my voice steady despite the earthquake in my chest. "I'm the bride's father. I paid for everything, the venue, the flowers, the string quartet warming up over there." The guard shifted uncomfortably, glancing back at the celebration. "Sir, I have strict orders. Mrs. Whitmore was very specific about the list." Mrs. Whitmore, not Sophia Chen. Already she'd erased me from her identity. Through the ornate fence, I watched her new family, the Whitmores of Pacific Heights, old money dripping from every gesture, toast with champagne that cost $400 per bottle. I'd wired the payment for those bottles just yesterday. My phone buzzed. A text from Sophia. "Dad, it's better this way. Alexander's family doesn't understand our background. Please don't make a scene. I'll call you next week." Our background. She meant being raised by a single father who worked 3 jobs to pay for her ballet lessons, who sold his mother's jade bracelet, the only thing I had from my grandmother, to cover her college application fees, who lived on instant ramen for 6 months so she could study abroad in Paris. I turned to leave, my footsteps heavy on the gravel. The security guard called after me, Sir, wait." But I didn't stop, because in that moment, staring at that locked gate, I made a decision that would change everything. In my car, I pulled out a leather journal I'd kept for 27 years. Every payment, every sacrifice, every dollar spent with love, all documented. Not because I ever planned to use it, but because each entry was a love letter to my daughter, proof that she was worth everything. Now, it would become something else entirely. You know, seeing a parent betrayed like this, it reminds us how precious family truly is. If this story moves you, if you believe parents deserve recognition for their sacrifices, please take just 1 second to subscribe. Your support helps share these important stories with others who need to hear them. Don't let another parent's sacrifice go unnoticed. My hands trembled as I made the first call. "Valley Catering? Yes, this is Robert Chen. I need to discuss the Whitmore Chen wedding payment." Within 3 hours of my first phone call, Sophia's perfect wedding started falling apart like a house of cards in a hurricane. The Four Seasons hotel bar was nearly empty at 2 p.m. I sat in the corner, my laptop open, making call after call. Each vendor I contacted had the same reaction: shock, then understanding, then action. "Mr. Chan, I'm pulling my team out right now," the florist said. "Nobody told us you weren't invited. That's unconscionable." The wedding planner was next, Margaret Devine, San Francisco's most exclusive coordinator. Her voice turned ice cold when she heard the truth. "Robert, I've planned weddings for 30 years. I've never seen anything like this. I'm terminating my contract immediately." My phone exploded with messages, first from Sophia. "Dad, what did you do? The flowers are being removed. This is my day." Then from Alexander, my new son-in-law. "Mr. Chen, this is highly inappropriate. We can discuss your hurt feelings after the wedding." Hurt feelings. 27 years reduced to hurt feelings. I pulled up my banking app. The automatic payment for the reception venue, $75,000, was scheduled for 3 p.m. I canceled it.
The band's final payment? Cancelled. The photographer's balance? Cancelled. The 5-tier cake from Duchess Bakery? Cancelled. Each cancellation felt like reclaiming a piece of my soul. By 3:30 p.m., Sophia called, sobbing. For a moment, my resolve wavered. This was still my little girl, the one who used to fall asleep on my shoulder after her ballet recitals, who called me her hero daddy when she graduated medical school. "How could you do this to me?" she wailed. "Sophia," I said quietly, "how could you lock me out of your wedding after everything I've done for you?" Alexander's mother said, "She said it would be awkward. You don't fit in with their crowd. I was protecting you from embarrassment." Protecting me? I laughed, but it was hollow. I worked the graveyard shift at 3 hospitals to pay for your education. I haven't taken a vacation in 15 years. I sold my car and took the bus for 2 years so you could have your BMW for med school. And you were protecting me? You don't understand the pressure I'm under. The Whitmores are now financially responsible for your wedding. Good luck with that. I hung up. The sun was setting over the bay when I got the next call. It was from James, my former brother-in-law, Sophia's uncle. "James, what's happening? Social media is exploding. Someone posted a video of vendors packing up in the middle of the reception. Sophia's hysterical." "She made her choice, James." "But you're her father." "No," I interrupted. "According to the wedding I wasn't invited to, I'm nobody. And nobody doesn't pay for anything." That night, alone in my empty house, empty because I'd sold most of my furniture to afford Sophia's dream wedding venue, I opened the journal again. 27 years of entries, $1.3 million spent with love, documented with precision. Tomorrow, the world would know the truth. If you've ever felt invisible despite your sacrifices, if you've ever given everything only to be forgotten, you understand Robert's pain. Please hit that like button, not for me, but for every parent watching who needs to know their sacrifices matter. Share this story. Someone in your life needs to hear it today. But first, I had one more call to make.
They say the truth will set you free. But sometimes the truth is a weapon that can destroy everything built on lies. My study looked like a war room. 27 years of receipts, bank statements, photos, and letters spread across every surface. At 3 a.m., I was still scanning documents, building an irrefutable case, not for revenge, but for truth. The leather journal lay open to March 15, 2010. Sophia's acceptance to Stanford, tuition, $68,000 per year, sold Mom's house to cover it. She deserves the best education. Living in a studio apartment now, but seeing her joy makes it worthwhile. Each entry told a story of sacrifice. December 2015. Sophia needs new car for residency interviews. Cashed out retirement fund. $45,000. Will work extra years, but she'll be safe on those long drives. June 2018. Sophia's wedding fund started, setting aside $2,000 per month, eating lunch at hospital cafeteria to save money. She mentioned wanting a fairy tale wedding. My phone rang at 4 a.m. Alexander Whitmore. "Mr. Chen, you've made your point. The wedding was a disaster. Sophia hasn't stopped crying. What will it take to make this right?" "An apology?" I suggested. He laughed coldly. "The Whitmores don't apologize. We're prepared to reimburse you for your investments if you sign an NDA. My investments? I stood up, rage flooding through me. Is that what you call raising a daughter alone? Is that what you call love? It's what I call leverage, Mr. Chen. You're trying to manipulate. I'm done being manipulated.
Your family convinced my daughter to erase me. Well, congratulations. You got what you wanted. She's all yours now. Every bill, every expense, every responsibility. You can't just abandon like she abandoned me. Watch me. After hanging up, I did something I'd never done before. I posted online. Not on Facebook or Instagram, but on LinkedIn, where Sophia's medical colleagues would see it. The post was simple. Today, I learned that 27 years of single fatherhood, $1.3 million in documented support, and unwavering love can be erased by social pressure. To all the parents sacrificing for their children, document everything. Love unconditionally, but protect yourself, because sometimes the children you die for will kill you socially without a second thought. Within an hour, it had 10,000 views. By morning, 100,000. The comments poured in. Other parents sharing similar stories, children realizing their own ingratitude, and overwhelming support for a father betrayed. But the one that stopped me cold was from Dr. Patricia Wong, Sophia's mentor at the hospital. I'm shocked and disgusted. Sophia, I trained you better than this. Robert, the medical community stands with you. Sophia called at 6 a.m., no longer crying, but furious. You've ruined my reputation, my career. How could you air our private business? Like you made our relationship private by excluding me from your public celebration? This is different. This is honest. That wedding was built on the lie that you got where you are alone. The truth is, you got there on my shoulders, standing on my sacrifices, and you kicked me down the moment you reached the top. I'm your daughter. Are you? Because daughters don't lock their fathers out of their weddings. Daughters don't erase their fathers from their lives because they're not wealthy enough, white enough, or sophisticated enough for their new families. Dad, please. That's the first time you've called me Dad in 6 months. Too late, Sophia. Far too late. Every parent watching knows this pain, the fear that our sacrifices might be forgotten. If this story resonates with you, please subscribe and ring that notification bell. Not because I'm asking, but because somewhere a parent needs to know they're not alone in their sacrifice. Your subscription helps their story be heard. The morning sun cast long shadows as I prepared the final documentation. Every receipt, every sacrifice, every moment of love turned into evidence. Today, San Francisco would know the truth about the Whitmore-Chen wedding disaster. By noon, Wedding Gate Father was trending nationally, and Sophia's carefully curated life was crumbling faster than she could delete comments. The San Francisco Chronicle reporter sat across from me, her recorder blinking red. "Mr. Chen, your story has captured national attention. Why go public?" I held up the journal. Because silence enables ingratitude. My story isn't unique, it's just documented. How many parents suffer in silence, forgotten by children they gave everything for? Your daughter claims you're having a mental breakdown, that you're vindictive. I have 27 years of receipts that say otherwise. Every payment made with love, every sacrifice documented, not for revenge, but because I thought one day I'd give this journal to her children to show them what love looks like. And now? Now it's evidence that love without gratitude becomes entitlement. My phone buzzed constantly. Sophia's hospital had placed her on administrative leave pending an investigation into conduct unbecoming. Alexander's law firm was fielding calls from clients questioning his judgment. But the most surprising call came from someone unexpected. Marilyn Whitmore, Alexander's mother. "Mr. Chen," her cultured voice was strained. "Perhaps we should meet." We met at the St. Francis Hotel, the same place where Sophia had introduced me to the Whitmores a year ago.
though they'd barely acknowledged my presence then. Marilyn sat rigid, her Chanel suit impeccable. This situation has become untenable. Your son married my daughter yesterday, though I wouldn't know since I wasn't allowed to attend. She flinched. That was regrettable. I may have suggested to Sophia that your presence might complicate the social dynamics. You mean I wasn't white enough or rich enough for your country club friends? Mr. Chen, Mrs. Whitmore, I worked 3 jobs to put my daughter through Stanford and Harvard Medical School. I speak 4 languages, have 2 advanced degrees, and built my life from nothing after immigrating here with $200 in my pocket. But none of that mattered to you, did it? She looked away. Alexander is reconsidering the marriage. After 1 day? The financial implications, the social media disaster, the damage to our reputation. Your reputation? I laughed bitterly. What about my daughter's heart? You clearly don't care about that, given your actions. I stood up. I cared for 27 years. You corrupted her in 12 months. Who really destroyed her? That evening, the video testimonials started. Sophia's high school teachers, her ballet instructor, her college roommates, all sharing stories of my sacrifice and dedication. Mrs. Rodriguez, who'd babysit Sophia when I worked night shifts, posted a tearful video. Robert would come to pick up Sophia at 7 a.m. after working all night and still make her breakfast, help with homework, never missing a school event. He was mother and father both. How dare she forget that? The public tide had turned completely. Hashtag Justice for Robert trended alongside hashtag Ungrateful Daughter. Sophia posted a response video, makeup ruined by tears, Alexander notably absent. You don't understand the pressure I was under. The Whitmores threatened to withdraw their support if I didn't comply with their wishes. I thought I could have both worlds. The comments were brutal. You chose money over your father. 27 years versus 1 rich family. You failed the test. Your father gave you everything. The Whitmores gave you conditions. That night, I sat alone, victory tasting like ash. Yes, the truth was out. Yes, I'd been vindicated. But my daughter, my little girl, was destroyed. Had I gone too far? Sometimes standing up for yourself means losing everything you love. If you understand that pain, if you believe that truth matters even when it hurts, please share this story. Someone you know needs to hear that their sacrifices mattered, that they're not wrong for demanding respect. Hit that share button. Be the voice for someone who's been silenced. Then my phone rang. An unknown number. Mr. Chen, this is Dr. Sarah Kim from Stanford Medical. We'd like to discuss establishing a scholarship in your name for single-parent students. Your story has inspired a movement.
Alexander Whitmore filed for annulment exactly 72 hours after saying I do. Apparently, for richer or poorer had small print. The dissolution was swift and merciless. Sophia called me at midnight, hysterical. He's leaving me. Alexander says the marriage was under false pretenses, that I misrepresented my family situation. Dad, I've lost everything. I sat in my darkened kitchen, feeling the weight of her despair through the phone. You haven't lost everything. You've lost things that were never truly yours. How can you be so cold? How could you be so cold to lock me out of your wedding, Kate? I made a mistake. No, Sophia, you made a choice. For months, you chose them over me. Every ignored call, every excuse for not visiting, every time you introduced me as just someone who helped with school, those were all choices. She sobbed harder. The Whitmores are suing me for the wedding costs they covered after you pulled out. It's $200,000. I don't have that kind of money. My accounts are frozen because Alexander claimed they were marital assets. The medical degree I paid for isn't frozen. Your ability to work isn't frozen. The hospital won't take me back. My reputation is ruined. No one will hire the ungrateful daughter.
That's what they're calling me. Through my window, I watched the fog roll over the bay. Somewhere in Pacific Heights, my daughter was facing the consequences of her choices. Dad, please, I need help. I'm alone. Like I was alone at your wedding gate? That's not... I said I was sorry. No, you didn't. You said you made a mistake. You haven't once said, I'm sorry, Dad. I'm sorry for hurting you, for dismissing my sacrifices, for choosing money over love. Silence. Then, quietly, I'm sorry, Dad. I'm so sorry. But apologies couldn't undo the damage. Over the next week, Sophia's carefully constructed life crumbled. Her residency program director called me personally. Mr. Chen, we're not terminating her position, but she's under review. Her judgment is in question. Her social media influencer career, 85,000 followers as Dr. Sophie Lifestyle, evaporated as brands withdrew partnerships. The luxury apartment she'd shared with Alexander, least I'd co-signed for, was being reclaimed. Her friends from the Whitmore circle vanished like morning mist. James, my former brother-in-law, visited me. Robert, she's staying with me now. She's broken, completely broken. She broke me first. You're her father, which meant nothing to her when it mattered. He showed me a photo on his phone. Sophia, hollow-eyed, in his guest room, surrounded by boxes, all that remained of her life. She hasn't eaten in 3 days. She just stares at old photos of you two. My heart cracked, but didn't break. She needs to learn. What if she doesn't survive the lesson? That hit home. Despite everything, I couldn't let my daughter destroy herself, but I also couldn't simply forgive and forget. I made a decision. Tell her this. I'll meet with her. Once. She gets one chance to show me she's truly changed. Not sorry because she's suffering, but genuinely understanding what she did. When she can tell me, specifically, every sacrifice I made that she forgot. When she can acknowledge each one. When she understands that my love had value beyond dollars. He nodded. That could take time. I waited 27 years. She can wait as long as it takes to find genuine remorse. Forgiveness isn't weakness, but it requires genuine repentance. If you believe in second chances, but only for those who truly earn them, please hit that like button. Subscribe to follow this journey of broken trust and possible redemption. Ring the bell, because sometimes the most important stories are about learning when to hold on and when to let go. That night, I received an email, no subject line, just an attachment from Sophia. My finger hovered over the play button for a full hour before I found the courage to press it.
She spoke for 47 minutes without stopping, and by the end, we were both drowning in tears, 27 years in the making. Sophia looked skeletal on the screen, her usually perfect hair unwashed, her eyes red-rimmed. She held my journal. Somehow James had given it to her. "Dad," she began, voice cracking, "I've read every entry, every single one. It took me 3 days because I couldn't stop crying." She opened to the first page. March 2nd, 1997. Sophia born at 3:47 a.m. Most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Promised to give her everything I'm ever had. Nothing will be too much for my princess. Dad, you kept that promise, and I... She broke down. When she composed herself, she continued. April 15th, 1999. Sophia's mom left today. Tried to explain to Sophia, but she just kept asking for mommy. Held her until she fell asleep. I'll be both parents now. She'll never feel abandoned again. But I abandoned you, didn't I? She went through entry after entry. December 2001. Sold my father's watch for Sophia's piano lessons. She has talent. Music will open doors for her I can't. September 2005. Second job at warehouse starting tonight.
Sophia got into St. Mary's Academy. Tuition is crushing, but she's so happy. Worth every exhausted moment. June 2012. Graduation day. Sophia valedictorian. Cried in the bathroom so she wouldn't see. All those double shifts, all those missed meals, worth it to see her shine. She thanked me in her speech. Proudest moment of my life. She looked directly at the camera. That was the last time I publicly thanked you for 9 years. How did I become so ungrateful? She continued reading. October 2018. Met Alexander's family today. They looked at me like I was the help. Sophia seemed embarrassed when I used the wrong fork. Maybe I should take etiquette classes so I don't shame her. Dad, you never shamed me. I shamed myself by being ashamed of you. The video continued. Sophia reading entry after entry, tears streaming. February 2024. Wedding planning in full swing. Sophia seems distant. Haven't seen her in 2 months. Keep telling myself she's busy. The Whitmores are handling most arrangements. Feel like I'm losing my daughter, but maybe this is normal. Maybe this is what letting go looks like. She closed the journal, looking directly at the camera. Dad, this isn't what letting go looks like. This is what betrayal looks like. You didn't lose me. I threw you away. For what? For acceptance into a family that discarded me the moment I became inconvenient? You worked 3 jobs. You slept 4 hours a night for decades. You gave up relationships because you said I was your priority. You learned to braid hair from YouTube videos. You sat through every ballet recital, every piano concert, every science fair. You were my mother and father, my protector and provider, my first hero, and, despite everything, my last hope. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I'm not asking for money. I need to earn my own way now. I'm just asking for one chance to prove that the daughter you raised is still in here, under all this entitlement and ingratitude. I've enrolled in financial literacy courses. I'm volunteering at the community center where you used to take me when you worked weekends. I'm seeing a therapist to understand how I became someone who could lock out the only parent who stayed. Dad, Alexander's mother admitted something before they cut contact. She said she was jealous of how much you loved me, how your eyes lit up when you talked about me. She said her husband never looked at their children that way. She wanted to diminish you because your love made their money look worthless. And I let her. I chose their worthless money over your priceless love. If you're watching this, I know you are because Uncle James promised to send it. Please know I see you now. I see every sacrifice, every sleepless night, every dream you deferred for mine. I see the man who immigrated here with nothing and built everything just to give it to me. I see my dad, and Dad, I'm so desperately sorry. The video ended. I sat in darkness for an hour, not moving, barely breathing. Sometimes the hardest thing isn't forgiving others, it's believing they've truly changed. If you've ever struggled with forgiveness, if you've ever wondered whether someone's apology was real, you're not alone. Please subscribe to this journey. Share it with someone who needs to know that redemption is possible, but it requires genuine transformation. Hit that notification bell, because the next chapter will challenge everything you believe about second chances. My phone rang. James. Did you watch it? Yes. And? Tell her to meet me tomorrow, noon, the bench where I taught her to ride a bike. Robert, are you? I'm going to give her one chance. Just one.
I arrived at the park with 2 documents, one that would free her and one that would bind her. The choice would be hers. Golden Gate Park was foggy, the bench where I'd taught Sophia to ride her bike barely visible from 20 feet away. She was already there, a ghost of her former self in a simple sweater and jeans, no designer labels, no careful styling. She stood when she saw me. We faced each other like strangers. Sit, I said, joining her on the bench. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then I pulled out the 2 documents. What are these? Choices, I said. The first is a check for $50,000. Enough to restart your life, pay off Alexander's lawyers, get an apartment. Take it, and we're done. No relationship, no contact. You get financial freedom, I get emotional freedom." Her hands shook as she looked at the check. "The second," I continued, "is a contract. If you sign it, I'll help you rebuild. But there are conditions." She read through it, eyes widening. "Weekly family therapy for 1 year, no exceptions. Financial transparency, every expense reported and justified. Volunteer work, 20 hours monthly at organizations serving single parents. No contact with the Whitmores or their social circle. Live on a residence salary only, no supplemental support beyond emergencies. Write and publish an article about entitlement and gratitude. Attend every major holiday and family event for 2 years. Complete a financial literacy and independence program." This is, she paused, "this is strict. This is accountability, something I should have taught you earlier. And if I fail any condition, we're done, permanently." She studied both documents. "Why the article?" "Because other children need to read your story. Other parents need to know they're not alone. Your shame becomes someone else's salvation. The Whitmores will sue me for defamation. Let them try. Truth is an absolute defense." She held the check. "This would be easier." "Yes." "I could take this and disappear, start fresh somewhere else." "Yes." "But I'd be running from who I became instead of facing it." I said nothing, letting her work through it. "If I take the money, I lose you forever." "You already lost me, Sophia. This would just make it official." She winced. "And the contract, that's the chance to earn you back? To earn yourself back. I'm just providing structure." She stood, walked to the trash can, and held the check over it. "You know what? Alexander would take the money. His mother would take the money. Every friend who abandoned me would take the money." She tore the check in half, then quarters, then eighths, letting the pieces fall into the trash. "But I'm not them. I'm Robert Chen's daughter, and it's time I started acting like it." She signed the contract with shaking hands. "When do we start therapy?" "Thursday, 2 p.m. Dr. Martinez, the same therapist who helped me after your mother left." Her eyes widened. "You went to therapy?" "For 3 years, to make sure I didn't pass my abandonment issues on to you. Apparently, I failed in different ways." "Dad, Don't. We're not there yet. This isn't reconciliation. It's rehabilitation. You're not my daughter again yet. You're someone working to become her." It was harsh, but necessary. Trust, once shattered, requires more than apologies to rebuild. "I understand," she said quietly. "Can I ask one question?" I nodded. "Did you ever stop loving me? Even when you exposed everything? Even when you walked away?" I stood to leave, then turned back. "Love isn't like a faucet you can turn off. I loved you every second of every day, even while you were destroying me. That's what made it hurt so much. The opposite of love isn't hate, Sophia. It's indifference. And I fought every day not to become indifferent to you. Did you win? Ask me in a year." Redemption isn't a moment. It's a journey of consistent choices. If you believe people can change, if you believe in second chances with accountability, please subscribe. Share this story with someone who needs to know that forgiveness is possible but must be earned. Like this video if you understand that love sometimes means letting someone face consequences. Ring that bell to follow Sophia's journey of redemption. I walked away, leaving her on the bench where she'd once skinned her knee learning to ride, where I'd promised nothing would ever hurt her again. Some promises, I learned, protect. Others harm by preventing growth.
The woman who stood before me bore Sophia's face, but carried herself like someone I'd never met, someone who'd earned her own respect. 1 year later, the community center was packed. Stories of redemption, an evening of testimonials from people who'd rebuilt their lives after moral failure. Sophia was the keynote speaker. I sat in the back, anonymous in the crowd. She didn't know I was there. She took the stage, no notes, no podium to hide behind.
My name is Sophia Chen, she began. A year ago, I was Dr. Sophia Whitmore, married to wealth, draped in designer clothes, and completely morally bankrupt. The audience listened intently as she told our story, not sparing herself, not minimizing her choices. I locked my father out of my wedding, the man who raised me alone, who sacrificed everything for my success. I chose the approval of strangers with money over the love of the one person who'd never abandoned me. She detailed the collapse, the rebuilding, the therapy sessions where she'd sobbed so hard she couldn't speak. My therapist asked me why I thought expensive things meant more than expensive sacrifices, why I valued Alexander's $100,000 car more than my father's 100,000 hours of labor for me. I couldn't answer, because I'd never thought about time as currency. She pulled out a journal, her own now. I started documenting everything differently. Not money spent, but moments noticed. Every gray hair my father earned raising me. Every dream he deferred so I could chase mine. Every relationship he didn't pursue because I was his priority. Every exhausted evening he still helped with homework. Every sick night he stayed awake monitoring my fever. I calculated it. 27 years, approximately 9,855 days of choosing me first, and I couldn't give him 3 hours at my wedding. The audience was silent, many wiping tears. But here's what I learned. Remorse without reform is just manipulation. So I reformed. She shared her journey. 1,040 volunteer hours at single-parent support centers, living on $60,000 a year despite having an MD, publishing articles about entitlement in medical journals, attending every therapy session, even when it meant missing lucrative opportunities, rebuilding her reputation through service, not social media. 6 months ago, my father started calling me daughter again. Not Sophia, not Ms. Chen, daughter. I wept for 3 hours. Last month, he let me cook him dinner, the first meal we'd shared in our old family home. He ate my terrible attempt at his favorite dish and said, "Needs work, but it's a start." Everything about us needs work, but it's a start. To the parents here who've been betrayed by children you gave everything for, your pain is valid. Demand accountability. Love doesn't mean accepting disrespect. To the children who have forgotten their parents' sacrifices, it's not too late, but apologies aren't enough. Change your behavior. Earn back what you carelessly threw away. My father says trust is like a mirror. Once cracked, even if repaired, the cracks remain visible. He's right. But kintsugi, the Japanese art of repairing pottery with gold, teaches us that broken things can become more beautiful for having been broken, if the repair is done with precious materials. Our relationship is kintsugi now. The cracks are filled with hard-earned wisdom, painful growth, and genuine transformation. We're not what we were. We're something new, perhaps stronger. She looked directly at the back of the room, somehow knowing I was there. Dad, if you're listening, thank you. Not for forgiving me, but for giving me the chance to become someone worthy of forgiveness. Thank you for loving me enough to let me fail and strong enough to demand I do better. I'm still earning my way back to being your daughter, but every day I wake up grateful for the chance to try. The applause was thunderous. People stood, many crying. I slipped out quietly, but she caught me in the parking lot. You came. You've become someone worth listening to. We stood there, two people who'd broken each other and were slowly, carefully rebuilding. Dad? Yes? I love you. Not your money,
not what you can do for me. You, the man who ate ramen for 6 months so I could study in Paris. The father who learned to braid hair from YouTube. The hero who never asked for recognition until I refused to give it. I pulled her into a hug, our first real embrace in 2 years. I love you too, Sophia, both who you were and who you're becoming. Am I your daughter again? You're more than that now. You're my daughter who chose to change. That's rarer and more precious than the perfect daughter I thought I was raising. We walked to our cars, her modest Honda and my old Toyota that I'd bought back after the crisis. Dinner Sunday? I've been practicing your mother's dumpling recipe. 5 p.m. Don't be late. As she drove away, I realized something. Sometimes destruction is necessary for reconstruction. Our relationship had to die for something more honest to be born. My phone buzzed. A message from Sophia. Thank you for loving me enough to let me fall and strong enough to help me stand back up. Your daughter. Earned, not given. Sophia. I smiled, typing back. See you Sunday. Bring your journal. It's time I showed you the entries from after you left, the ones about hope, forgiveness, and the daughter I knew was still in there. Love, Dad. Always, even when it hurt. Final CTA. Every broken relationship has the potential for redemption, but it requires truth, accountability, and genuine change. If this story moved you, please don't just watch, act. Subscribe to this channel and share this story with every parent and child you know. Someone needs to hear that it's never too late to rebuild, but it's also never wrong to demand respect. Hit that like button if you believe in second chances with accountability. Ring the notification bell to follow more stories of redemption and reconciliation. And remember, your subscription isn't just supporting a channel. It's spreading a message that broken things can be beautiful again, if we're brave enough to do the work. Thank you for joining Robert and Sophia's journey. May it inspire your own.